Right, so Tom's got 3 putters, right? He's got an absolute weldy Newport Black, original Scotty. He's got a Platinum Series Newport, same but different colour. It could be interesting how he aims it with black versus silver. And then he's got a centre shafted even roll as well, the ER2 CS. So now we're going to put him on there. We're going to get him to hit some putts. Ben's going to do the Quintic session. Like I said, we're just going to let it roll, and then we'll find out where it goes from there. All right. So Ben's calibrating the putter here. The idea is that Tom doesn't move for sort of 2, 3, 4 seconds, and now that will give him a perfect 0, so we know where to start from. And he's going to hit some putts with that, and we'll get some numbers.
You'll see on the screen there's like a little green bit. It's a little mark on the floor. I just want you to place the ball each time. It's your one and only job you've got to do for me.
On the white dot.
In between. You see just there.
Oh, sorry, in between the green and
what I'll do is after you're ready to putt, and then just let me know, and then just putt for me. So what we're going to do now is record 6 putts with Tom's even roll, just to see what actually goes on. So we're going to find some information on all 3 putters. We'll talk for after we've done each one. So we're going to hit 6 putts with even roll.
Yep.
Find out what he does. We're not giving him any advice or help. We just want to see what is the raw data. What's his putting actually like with this putter. So let me know when you're ready, Tom.
Ready.
Okay, when you're ready, putt for me.
Next one.
Yeah, okay, so we just put the 3 dots facing, and what I do each time is we add the ball, we add the putt into the system, and that helps us create a summary after 6 putts. So when you're ready, just let me know.
Ready.
Okay, putt for me. What we're not doing here is not kind of jumping into it, we're just really giving an overview of what's actually going on. It's very easy to kind of make a judgment first part, but we just kind of want to see what really goes on and what happens.
Ready.
Okay. Next one. So when you're ready, let me know.
Ready.
Okay, putt for me.
Next one.
Yeah, one more.
Ready.
Yeah. Okay, so we've done 5 putts there, so we'll stay with that. We'll just add this one in, and what we'll do is take a little look at actually what's happening with the numbers. Okay, so Tom's hit his putts with the even roll. I'm going to take just a quick little look at what's going on. Obviously, Quintic gives us face angles, so we know if he's open or shut. Obviously, there's a bit of variation between one was 1.9 open and one was 1.9 closed. So it's going to be interesting when we look at his different putters, what that actually does and the difference it makes. Then get into his rotation angle, so how quickly it's basically the toes rotating, how fast that's moving. And that is for me, it's a smidge on the high side, but it depends what feel you like. On to twist, so this is centreness to strike, whether you are toe or heel, and the club wheel twist. This is centre shafted, so it's quite interesting that it's still in a good tolerance. You know, it's not got a lot of motion because it is very, very close to where the strike is. Strike was probably a little bit out of toe compared to actually where the shaft goes into the middle of the putter. I'm going to be a bit critical. And then into path, he's a little bit across it, that's fine. It's not a huge deal. That only becomes a really big deal if your low point, depends on where your low point is, but we'll talk about that another day because that's getting a little bit deeper into D-plane and putting. And then we get onto the speeds, it's going acceleration, so are you a hitter, are you constant into the ball? And that's, you know, Tom's a little bit quick with that putter, so it'll be interesting what the other putters do, because putters can change and shafts can change, how you basically load the shaft into the ball, because there is some load even on a putt. And then we get into the impact ratios, which would be, this is always going to be an interesting one because the even roll's really, really soft. It's probably the softest putt we actually have in the putting studio. And impact ratio is basically smash fast off for putting. And you know, he's at 169, 165, 170, 165, 166. So we compare this to a Scotty and you're going to get a completely kind of different outcome on what's happening. The Scotty camera's going to be a bit harder, a bit quicker, and And effectively what that means is the ball will come off with more energy with a harder face than it does with a softer face, given the putter's moving at the same speed with the same mechanics, you could say. Then it gets into launch angle, which is pretty good. It's 2.18 is highest, down to 1.43, and that consistent launch angle, obviously creating the spins and making the ball come out of its depression, is something we're looking for. Lie angle and shaft angles don't really change. Attack angles, he's up on it all apart from one where he went a little bit down. And the one he went down on, his low point, was actually in front of the ball, so the bottom of the arc, what's going on there. And that's obviously key as well in terms of creating the spins. In terms of spins we've got going on, ball got rolling straight away from the point of zero, which is fantastic. And the forward and back spin, he's got forward spin on every single putt. Great thing about the even roll putters is the face technology I've got in them with the grooves really do get it going. It gets the putt rolling. And obviously the side spins, which obviously then affects how the ball's going to react when it lands. So if it's got some side spin on the ball, it's like American football being thrown in the air, it kicks when it lands. So actually your putting and the whole your putting issues could actually be down to creating side spin on the ball, and different putters out there can help with that issue, or is it mechanics, and you can kind of tie it all in together and what's going on. So a couple are good and a couple do get a little bit high, but they're not too bad. But what we're going to do now is just have a look at the next par and go from there, and we'll get one of the Scotties out. Okay, so what we're doing now, we've hit a couple of putts already, and we've got two more left to hit on this sequence. So when you're ready, Tom, just putt for me.
Ready?
Okay. What we're now into the Newport Silver Limited Edition, slightly shorter. It's going to give us some different results in a minute, and we'll take a look. So one more putt, please, Tom, and then we'll kind of have a little look at what the Newport's done.
Those lines are right.
Yeah, good for me.
Ready?
Yeah, putt for me. Okay, so Tom's hit 5 putts, and one thing he did find, he said to me, as soon as he hit the first one with a Scotty, compared to even was that feels really fast off the face.
Yeah.
And obviously it's interesting for us, and we're kind of look at a minute, why was he talking about being fast off the face? But he does like this putter. He likes the even roll, but he likes to look at this putter as well. So let's take a little look, see what we've got, see how it's different, and we'll take a view from there. Okay, so this is Tom's data from his Silver Newport. Obviously really loves it. I'm going to take a little look at kind of what's been going on, what's slightly different. And what you see here with the face angles consistently shut, he never had an open face angle the whole time. It's obviously a bit more toe hang, it rotates a little bit quicker. Or does it rotate quicker? That's then the next thing. We actually find out it's got, you could say, centre shaft versus more of a Newport classic look. He's actually got less rotation. Strangely enough, he's got less speed of closure of the face. We then get into a twist, and there is more of a definite toe hit, although his path actually now suddenly neutralises out. So this is a really interesting one with different styles of putter, different heads, different lengths as well, can actually change how the putter path moves and what's going on. It's not just a case of there's my problem, fix it. There's a cumulative effect. So if you change one thing, it's like a domino, you can change something else, change something else. And the skill is not, you can actually make someone worse before making them better. And we just get into impact speeds are all very similar. Launches, apart from the odd couple of not so perfect ones, aren't too bad, a little bit more inconsistent. In terms of the attack angle, couple this time going down. Tom's issue is he does get a little bit in front of the putt. But interestingly enough, in terms of the spin, forward and back spin, the side spin, he's still maintaining top spin on the ball, which is fantastic. The Scotties are harder to do, but our side spin suddenly kind of jumps up, and nearly every single part it's got more side spin on the ball. So in terms of the ball's interaction, it becomes different. So we've got one more putt to try, which is a black version of a Newport. Bit of an old one, Joe's told you about it. It's a lovely piece. So the interesting thing is going to be, how does that compare to the other two we've done before? So on with that one. Okay, so what we've done now is we've swapped over to Tom's second Newport, this black one here. Old putter, lovely, limited edition piece, really nice. So we're just going to get 3 more putts, a couple already, and we're going to just putt away. So when you're ready, Tom, let me know.
Ready?
Okay, putt for me. Slightly different length this one as well, and it's got a gas and grip, splitting the hands a little bit more different mechanics, so it's going to create something different as well, and that longer length will be interesting to see what that does too. Okay, when you're ready, let me know.
Ready?
Okay, putt for me. Okay, so just one more putt, and then we'll have a talk about what's happened and how it's different, how it's the same. Okay,
Ready?
when you're ready, let me know.
Ready?
Okay, putt for me. So that's our 5 putts. So what we do now is take a look and see what happened. Right, so Tom's last putt here is Black Scotty, and we kind of look what goes on. In terms of face angle, apart from one dicky number where it was a toe hit as well, so we're kind of giving a bit of 2 things here. His face rotation was actually better. Rotation numbers are slower. So weirdly enough, when he went to that face balanced even roll putt, he actually rotated the toe quicker, which is contrary to kind of what you believe might happen. Could be down to the grip, could be down to the length, could be down to the shaft, number of different factors. We then get into the twists. It's pretty similar to the other Scotty, apart from the one bad one. And his path suddenly now has actually gone out to the right. So where the even roll he's across it, he's now gone out to the right. So different putters create different paths, different lengths. We've moved the position, it's slightly longer. We're getting to acceleration. He's a bit more of a hitter with this putter as well than he was the other 2. So it could be because it's a little bit longer, he loads a little bit. In terms of launch, was a little bit low sometimes. I wouldn't be surprised if it's only got 1 or 1.5 degrees and it needs a little bit of smidgen help, but probably loves it on quick greens. The tack angle as well, he threw in one dodgy one which was kind of down and squeezy. Low point was an inch in front. Apart from that, he had one last putt as well, with low points behind, so the inconsistency there are going to be mechanical. They're technical issues. How are we going to make him putt better? But that's for another day. And into the rotation. So in terms of rotations, got lots and lots of forward spin because the loft's low. The side spin as well was actually pretty good. So in terms of putter, he actually really likes this putter. He knows it's not quite perfect. He likes the visuals. He aims it well. He gets it rolling well. Not quite got enough loft on it. But it's just a completely different scenario what's going on between them. So what we're going to do now is kind of just have a little chat about, and we'll get Jace back in, and we'll just have a chat about the putters, the differences, why, and what we're going to do with Tom for the next process. Because we're going to do something fun here. We're actually going to change it slightly. We're going to take one of these putters, change something, and kind of make a difference and make it work. And we'll talk about that in a minute. Right, Ben here, and what we've done is I'm going to start off nice and simple here. I've actually taken Tom Newport, which he really, really likes the feel of, and I've put it to 3 degrees. Because the issue was he didn't have enough loft on it. And you also got to remember as well, when you change a loft, you're basically going to change the face angle smidgen as well. It's going to look slightly different. So what we're going to do now is we're going to hit 5 putts and see what it's like now, just to see what the difference is. We've had some conversations about what he likes the feel of. You know, the even roll's lovely. We might change the grip on the even roll and move it there, but we've changed the loft on this. We're going to give it a go and see what it's like. Okay, so what we've done here is we've skipped the first few parts. What I've done is we've had a chat, and I've taken Tom's Newport and I've moved it from 2 degrees, because it was launching a little low, up to 3. And we're just going to see what that does. And the key consideration here is going to be you've got to make sure you can still align it. So we want to know what it does to the alignments, what it does to the face angles, what it's doing to spin, what it's doing to a launch, and also kind of what's going on with the low point. So we've made a small change, but a small change can make a massive difference to a putter in terms of the visuals and the delivery, then the ball, and what the ball's doing in reaction. So we hit 3 putts already, 2 more putts coming up now, Tom. So when you're ready, let me know.
Ready?
Okay, putt for me. Okay, 1 more. And it is interesting about how a change can really make a significant difference to what happens to the putt. So when you're ready, 1 more putt for me, please. Okay, putt. Good. So that's 5 putts. What we're going to do now is take a look, see what it actually did, see what that loft change did to the putter and the difference it's actually made, and whether it's actually helped or hindered, or do we need to look at something next? Okay, so Tom takes 5 putts. We're going to talk about kind of what gone on. And all we've done is we've changed and put a degree more loft on the putter. It's the only thing we've changed here, and the influence it can have. And what we've actually found is face angles now always below a degree. It's actually got better by that little change. So a little bit of change, changing the hosel position slightly, changes the lie you then get with your eye when you look down to it. His face rotations are still very consistent in terms of what they're going on. We like them. The twist is more closer to the middle contact. His path's neutraled out a little bit more. It's a lot more consistent than it was before, which is, you know, the difference on the position of the face to what you're seeing has changed. He's a little bit hitty still, but we've not worked on that. But when we then come into what's going on with the launch angle, His launch angle's now better. It's not half a degree. F1 was a little bit too lofty, but we're talking minute amounts, and he actually gets a consistent roll on the golf ball now. Attack angle, he's very, very neutral. Sometimes he goes a little bit down. The low point does get a little bit in front. However, it hasn't got in front as much as it did before. And that's key consideration to how he can deliver the ball, club to the ball, and how the ball's going to react off a club. Then we get into, he's getting the ball rolling straight away, a little bit low on couple because it is a Scotty. They are hard to use. There's not, face technology in there to help. And the side spin, there is some side spin on it, but it's actually kind of neutralised. It's not as much. And what's going on here is just about one simple change of, in a putter fit, just changing a degree of loft has made a real difference to being able to aim it still, but then because you can aim it, it's neutralised the path out, actually get the ball to come off at the correct launch angle, so when it lands, it rolls and it interacts properly, it gets out of that depression, and it can be different on what you're looking at from putt to putt, and different putters, different people. But in terms of what Tom's working on here, obviously we will do some stuff on acceleration and work on that with him as a mechanical point of view separately. And we're just gonna, just keep working those mechanics. And for me, if we take some of the hit out, we're actually improve the attack angle into the ball, make the low point a bit more consistent, and then get an even further improvement on terms of spins, what's going on the side. So what we're gonna do is just go and work on that, and we're gonna hit some parts, and we'll kind of give you a little update on kind of what we did on that and how it changed it, and we'll look at the acceleration and what we're gonna do on that. Okay, so what we're going to do now is just address Tom's, acceleration he's hit. And he's got a Scotty likes it. Scotty's by nature a bit fiery off the face, unless you've got a milled, studio one off the tour. So what we're going to use is one of these. I like a speedball, and as you can see, there's lots of different colours. Apologise if you're colourblind and you're not seeing them. Red, yellow, black, red, yellow, black. And what we're going to get him to do is go back to the second red, stop at the first red. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking it's actually going to make him more of a hitter. Make him quicker, hit it more, and he doesn't know what's going to happen. So I'm not allowed him to have a go and see what happens first, because I actually want to see his reaction to when he actually does this, and if he does it properly. And if he does it properly, it's going to be interesting what we're going to see. So I'm going to pop this down near his ball, kind of in line with it. He's going to make a couple of little practice strokes to start with, just to get a feel. We'll reset ourselves back in here, and just give an idea on what's going on. So when he's ready, I just want him to let me know. So just have a couple of practice strokes. Ready. Back to the second, through to the first. Okay, always go for me. So set yourself up, Tom. So back to the second, through to the first. And we're working on the impact ratio here. So when you're ready, putt for me.
Ready.
Okay. So back to the second, through to the first. And Tom's issue is he's a bit of a hitter. So in terms of what it does to the ball, it pops it off a little bit quick. And we're going to wait for this to come up. And we've suddenly completely changed it. So we've gone quite extreme 2 to 1. And we're going to take a little look at the screen now and just have a look at what that's done to what's going on with his acceleration, also how that's affected the impact factor and how fiery the ball is off the face. Right, okay, so Tom's at his part here, and we were working on the acceleration. So he's gone kind of 2 back, 1 through. And what we've done is we've taken him a 5 to actually killed him completely to a constant minus 0.2. So it's nearly a deceleration, but we've taken all the hit out of it. What this eventually then means is the impact ratio then drops. So you're trying to find that trade-off between actually, if you want your putt to feel softer, by controlling that acceleration into the ball, becoming more consistent, less hitty, you produce less pop off the face. So something about putters, they're going to feel softer, it's not going to feel as bouncy, and it's going to be enhanced and feeling how better it was. So it's something to kind of look at and why, and when we go into mechanics versus putter fit, they are 2 different things. We've gone through the putter fit, this is kind of a little bit more into mechanics. So that's the 2 differences on the session you could say as well between putter fit. We made the loft change, that's all including the price and whenever you're having a session. And into this, we're more into the deeper understanding of what's going on with the mechanics, what's going on and how it affects what happens to the ball in essence. And that's more of a full Quintic session where you make different changes but for good reason and learn some different skill set as well. But that gives you a good overview of kind of what putter fit is and takes you a little bit into what a Quintic analysis session is in compared to a putter fit. But the smallest changes, as we've just kind of found out, can have a tremendous influence on the outcome of how your ball comes off the putter face and keeping it rolling through as a whole, which is what it's all about. Okay, Ben and Tom here, and we're just having like a little bit of a debrief, like we do, all students like to have a sit down afterwards to kind of just have a chat about what they've done. Obviously, we've worked on the Scotty, we've added a degree of loft on it, and we're just going to kind of ask Tom and kind of what that feels like We did obviously a little bit of mechanic work separately, but in terms of for me, Tom, in terms of the feel, how did that feel different with a loft change? Because it sounds bizarre, but does it actually feel any different?
Yeah, I'd say the impact, it wasn't as springy, and I felt more control of the putter head, and I felt more stable.
That's, it's one of those odd ones. You go 1 degree. Does 1 degree really make that difference? And it can do. You've got to remember, if the ball's coming off differently, it's obviously ball sits in a depression. If it's coming out of depression differently, it's going to feel different. It's going to feel nice if it's coming out at the correct launch. The other thing we're going to look at is possibly changing the grip as well. Tom's old school, loves the tiger pin grip. So we're just going to look at that as an option going forwards and have a chat about that. The one thing I will say is stability shaft. He does get a little bit off centre with a hit compared to where centre is to where the line actually is. So one option we could look at going forward to stabilise it a little bit more would be to actually put a stability shaft in to remove the face twist. Obviously not a cheap option, but going forward is an option to look at. So we go away, work on that, and then we'll have another look and kind of go, right, okay, if we've still got a bit of twist going on, we probably will go and probably stick the Tor one into the blade, the Tor bladed stability shaft in, and just help improve his putting in that way as well. So there's lots and lots of stuff you can do. You can even change a loft. There's also the different shaft options. But if you like your putter, it might be a case, once you've had the loft done correctly, you've got a grip option. You might stick something different in the middle to give you that feel or performance that you actually want without actually having to buy a new putter or lose the putter you actually love the look of. So, but in summary, there's stuff to work on. We've worked on the mechanics. We've changed the loft. We'll probably look at a stability shaft, and I know Tom here, he'll probably get a stability shaft in because he'll want that bit of extra performance. But good overview there of what a putt fit's like, a little bit into what a Quintic session's like, mechanics. But if you're interested, come in, get yourself booked in, have a putter fit or have a Quintic session. You want the full hour, and just become the best putter you can be and understand what's going on.